What is up, guys? Drew Martin here with Wager Talk, talking some Cotton Bowl, AT&T Stadium, Friday Night Lights, 8 p.m. prime time Eastern kick here. We get Missouri and Ohio State. We get the SEC versus the Big Ten. As I'm talking right now, it's the Missouri Tigers actually is the short favorite here, -1, -1.5, depending where we're shopping. Just under 50 as the total. And guys, we've seen a move so far towards the Missouri the money coming in on Missouri, making them the short favorite here, and mainly due to opt outs to transfers on the Ohio State side of things. Actually, as their starting quarterback, Kyle McCord, he's transferring out. You usually don't see that, the starting quarterback for Ohio State, and now he's hitting the transfer wire. It's kind of almost like head scratching in a way. And we've seen it so far this bowl season. Was just talking to Rob Veno off camera of some of these bowl line moves just off of transferring have been wrong so far this season. And actually going back to last year, it's something I made a point to in my notes. A lot of these line moves were wrong last year as well. And I almost think that the sports betting marketplace is getting to a point where the starting quarterback leaves. So it's a huge move down, 5, 6 points, whatever the power rating might be. I think people are forgetting the backup quarterback got a Division 1 scholarship as well. He also gets extra preparation time to prepare to run with the other first stringers on the offense. So I almost wonder if this is getting a little bit out of hand. Like Ohio State's now the underdog here, and Ohio State is 17-5 against the spread as an underdog since 2009. So we're going all the way back, to 08, 09 here when the economy was in the dirt. And sure enough, they're 17-5 money making since then. They're not a dog all that often. We get them here in bowl season. So overall, guys, I think we actually get the better players on the Ohio State side. And it's a big game, Friday night lights here in the Cotton Bowl. Brady Cook, a good quarterback himself on the Missouri side. Eli Drinkowitz, I think question marks still out there. How good of a coach is he? Overall, guys, it's not one of my best bets of bowl season, anything like that. But I think this is too big of a line move. And that Ohio State as an underdog, it's been profitable. Give me the Buckeyes, Friday night lights in the Cotton Bowl.
Hey guys, let's take a look at this TaxSlayer Bowl game. We're about 9 days out from this one recording here. So the opt out stuff is not as decided as it will be come game time. However, I don't know that it makes a heck of a lot of difference here. The key stuff, to me at least, has been already announced. And really, the major news is that Ray Davis, running back for Kentucky, will play in this game. It's obviously an NFL type showcase game for him. Um, Come back, play this one, see how well you can do against this Clemson defense, and maybe generate some interest. We'll see. It looks like quarterback Devin Leary will be in for the UK side. For Clemson, there's an assortment of guys in the portal. Some may play, some may not. So right now, we're going to go with what we know. And I think the biggest key to this game has been Clemson's dedication to the running game since that loss to NC State. After that loss, remember, Dabo Swinney was questioned by a young reporter, maybe a school newspaper reporter, I forget, but basically he wanted to know why they paid Dabo Swinney millions of dollars every year to coach the team. And of course, the head coach got a little hot under the collar and changed the offensive philosophy for this team. Since they lost to NC State, Clemson's final 4 games of the season after that, the play calling switched dramatically. 60% run, 40% pass, 225 and a half of their yards per game were made on the ground, and only 158.3 were made through the air. Now, if you compare that to what they did prior, they were a 49% run team. So the run percentage play calling went up by 11%. They were 51% pass. The pass went down 11%. Rushing yards per game, last 4 games of the year, went up by 67 and a half yards. Passing yardage went down by 101 yards per game. Reason for that, the wide receiving core just isn't there this year for Clemson. Quarterback Cade Klubnik really wasn't performing well throwing the football. And they have talented running backs here. And they started to lean on Will Shipley, and Phil Maffa, and all of a sudden they took off down the stretch. Clemson played their best ball of the season, last 4 games. It started with the Notre Dame game, and then they closed the season very, very strong. In this one, I think it's pretty simple. Both teams are going to want to run the football here. It's what they do best. It's what they know. Line up in the trenches. Let's go. And both teams have really good run defenses. Kentucky ranks 25th against the run, so it won't be easy for Clemson. And Clemson ranks 30th. It won't be easy for Kentucky either. And especially since Clemson figures to put a target on the chest of Ray Davis, the star running back for UK. Um, I would think that this total, where it sits right now, 47 and a half, is too high in this game. Um, Neither of these teams has been rushing to the line of scrimmage. Kentucky, of course, takes their time. Clemson has slowed down quite a bit this year from the hurry up and go offense that they've been in the past. So a lot of running without a lot of breakaway runs means clock ticking constantly. If it takes you 2, 3 runs to make a first down, it takes a lot of time off the clock. I don't know that you can trust either quarterback here to complete big passes. I do think Dabo Swinney is more apt to come with gimmicky type plays in a bowl game than is Mark Stoops of Kentucky. So maybe one of those works. You factor that in. As long as there's not a lot of defensive touchdowns or short fields set up by turnovers here. Remember, Clemson does have familiarity with Devin Leary, the quarterback of Kentucky. He was the QB for NC State for 3 years prior to this. So they know him. I think they can contain him. I think Kentucky defensively will be ready, and Clemson has not been much more than a running team last 4 weeks. So give me under in this contest. Weather could always be an issue here in Florida. We saw it be an issue in the Orlando game last Saturday afternoon. So be on the lookout for that. But for me, it's going to be Clemson, Kentucky under the 47 and a half points.
What is up, guys? Drew Martin here with Wager Talk, talking the Peach Bowl in the ATL Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where the Atlanta Falcons play their home games Saturday, guys. This is kicking us off 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific kick. It is the Ole Miss running Rebels and the Penn State Nittany Lions. We're seeing Penn State, as I'm talking right now, more than a week out, minus 4-point favorites, 48 and a half being the total. Got an opinion both side and total here. Start off with the side. Big Ten teams just 4-13 against the spread versus the SEC when favored by a field goal or more. Think about that, guys. Just 4-13. So they've been money burners here in this role in bowl season. That's the setup right now. So it makes me look towards Ole Miss. I think we get the better quarterback in Jackson Dart. So looking for something here, I'd probably split a bet. I bet Ole Miss here +4, but thinking of it, I need to add some on the money line as well, get that plus price, because I wouldn't be surprised if the Rebels win it outright. But it leads me into the total here, guys, and that's what's going to be the best bet for the video here. 48 and a half as this total. I like it up and over for a couple different reasons. One, yes, Penn State does have statistically, if you go by yards given up per game, the number one defense in the country. However, we got to remember about this Big Ten conference this year, there was not a whole lot of offense. I mean, just look at some of these offenses they faced. Iowa. Remember how drastically bad that Iowa offense was. UMass, obviously not the same as Ole Miss. Northwestern, Delaware, Michigan State, Rutgers, just to name like half of their schedule that really struggled on offense. Now they're going up against the Lane Kiffin coached offense, Jackson Dart taking the snaps. There's a lot more dynamics to kind of cover here. And I think Ole Miss is going to be able to put it in the end zone a few times here. And then you look at the Rebels side of things, their defense giving up 385 yards per game. I mean, that puts them down with like the Marshalls, the Rice of the world. This is not that great of a defense for Ole Miss. We get a controlled climate, fast track, indoors. We're not going to have to worry about the elements this time of year. We get a low total, guys. I think this gets up in the 50s, maybe the 60s. Plus the fact, talking about the Penn State side of things, their defensive coordinator, Manny Diaz, one of the better defensive coordinators in the country, he's off to Duke, so he's not calling the plays. And one of their better players, Robinson, he opted out of this. So they're going to be down a couple guys on that defensive side. Hey, 48 and a half, it's too low here. We get the Rebels, hotty toddy, and we are Penn State. I'm seeing more points than the odds makers are projecting here, guys. Getting our Saturday off right, up and over Ole Miss and Penn State.
All right, let's take a look at this Saturday, the late game. Coastal Carolina and San Jose State going to play in the Hawaii Bowl. Big slate on Saturday, but this will be the one that winds it all up. So be a lot of eyes on this contest. Let's take a look. Opened up at San Jose State -7, 54.5 the total. Currently looking at San Jose State -10 and 52. Some 51 and a halves out there as we go to air here with this one. So movement here on the San Jose State side and the under. The portal situations, you have to look at that first in all of these games. In this one, Coastal had a lot more people, 3 times as many players hit the transfer portal. They had 19, San Jose State had 6. However, as far as starting players are concerned to date right now, 2 starters for each side out here. For Coastal Carolina, they'll lose a starting wide receiver and linebacker. And for San Jose State, they're starting left tackle and tight end. So 2 on each side kind of offset each other, but the portal advantage probably goes to San Jose State here. Another advantage for San Jose State is the familiarity with this venue and with this trip. They were just here on October 28th. They played Hawaii in this makeshift stadium while Hawaii waits for their new stadium to get built, or excuse me, refurbished. They win 35-0 in that game. It There's something to be said for knowing how to make this trip and play the game and not get caught up in the sightseeing, especially at bowl season. For Coastal Carolina, it's tough to gauge. They're coming off a disappointing season. Are they here to win this game? Are they here to sightsee and participate in the activities? Not so sure, but I'm pretty sure San Jose State will be motivated here. And my guess on Coastal Carolina would be this: that the first year head coach Tim Beck probably utilized his 15 extra practice sessions to increase cohesion in his systems and to see next year's personnel in game time situations. I think this is somewhat of an evaluation process still going on for Coastal Carolina. Thus, the 19 guys hitting the portal, they're still weeding players out. Quarterback advantage here, drastically in favor of San Jose State. San Jose State's quarterback, Chevin Cordero, he's going to come home for the second time this season. Again, they played in Hawaii when they beat the Hawaii team. And for Cordero, he's a graduate of the famed St. Louis School in Honolulu. He was the backup quarterback here to Tua Tagovailoa. And, Marcus Mariota, a lot of famous quarterbacks out of this high school. So for Cordero, it's a homecoming of sorts. You can be sure he'll be motivated. The other side, Ethan Vasco, the number 3 quarterback for Coastal Carolina. He'll now be starting his 5th consecutive game, so he's had snaps. Coastal's results have been kind of hit or miss during his time. His actual production has been kind of middle of the road. Nothing to write home about, nothing really to slam. So you got Cordero, who's been on fire the second half of the season, against Vasco, who's kind of a mid-tier quarterback at this point in time, still learning a system. The keys here to me, not quite sure about either defense. Let's take a look at Coastal Carolina first. In Sun Belt play this year, they faced 4 teams with balanced offenses that had really good passing attacks. In those games, Coastal Carolina allowed 439 total yards per game, 314 through the air. Balanced offense with a really good passing attack is the definition of San Jose State's offense. Their stud running back, Kyrie Robinson, runs the football very well. He's going to be tough to contain. You add in, as I mentioned, Cordero and that receiving core. This team averaged 186 on the ground, 236 through the air. Their play calling splits are 54-46. They're going to be a handful for Coastal Carolina if earlier results tell us anything about this CCU defense. The question marks about San Jose State's defense. Now, their season actually was in 2 halves. First half, they were not very good. Second half, they were tremendous. Article I read, they dedicate that to head coach Brennan taking the team to see a lunar eclipse. And all of a sudden, after they saw the lunar eclipse, they took off both straight up and against the spread. That's neither here nor there. But the facts about their defense back half of the season are this. The numbers look a lot better. But close examination shows they played Fresno without starting quarterback Mikey Keene. We saw how good Mikey Keene was in their bowl game. They played against a pass-only offense in Hawaii. They played a subpar offense in San Diego State. They played a bad New Mexico offense. So they really haven't been tested. One time where they showed up big, they shut down Utah State, which is a good offense. But in the MWC championship game, they won the game wire to wire, but UNLV was still able to score 31 points and get 411 yards. So the jury's kind of out on how great the San Jose State defense is. Does it match the numbers? We'll find out, I'm sure. But in the end, this one to me seems pretty simple. San Jose State is the better team right now. They're the more motivated team right now. They're less affected by the transfer portal. And to me, Coastal Carolina's in an evaluation process and using this bowl game to do so. Minus 10 is a steep number, but San Jose State can score points. And when the defense is right, they can shut people down. So I don't think it's too much for them. I think they have too many edges in this contest. I'm going to play San Jose State minus the 10. And for those who might want to take a look at first half, I think SJSU was minus 6.5 first half. I could see that look as well. I wouldn't talk anybody off of that. San Jose State again, used to this stadium, familiar with these surroundings, familiar with this road trip. Maybe they get off a lot quicker than Coastal Carolina does in this ball game. So once again, the Hawaii Bowl, San Jose State minus 10 to play here.